1817, the Drapers Company sent a delegation to Moneymore, and they reported back that the people there were devoid of any religious animosity or jealousy. The Drapers Company were great supporters of churches in Moneymore, and in the early 1820s they gifted this fine Presbyterian church to the town. The foundation stone was laid in 1821, and 2 years later this fine Presbyterian church was completed. And I'm here with Jeremy, dressed in all your finery. Now, will you tell me a little about this church?
Well, this church, as you've said, was built, or certainly started in 1821, using a rather generous grant from the Drapers Company, and completed eventually in 1823, as you can see from the plaque over my right shoulder.
And I believe you're in the costume of a certain clerical gentleman who made quite an impact in the town of Moneymore.
Well, today I'm dressed as the Reverend Mr. Barnett. He was the minister of the Presbyterian Church in 1823, an extremely colourful, one of the more colourful characters of the town at that time. He had extremely firm views on most things, and more importantly how the town should be run, and he was not afraid to tell everyone who would listen. When the Drapers Company proposed converting the old brewery into a distillery in order to help the local grain farmers, well, of course Mr. Barnett saw this merely as an opportunity for vice and sin, and that of course the whisky that would be distilled would merely lurch the town downwards, but more importantly he of course gave the example of local girls being lured by the travelling coachman in the inn that would be built here.
And his objections led to a dispute with the Drapers Company.
The Drapers Company didn't take kindly to his objections, and they did everything in their power to get rid of him. Not only did they remove in that year his stipend, they had been very generous to the local ministers and gave them about £10 a year while they refused him his stipend that year. But more importantly, they gave money to the part of the congregation who were dissenting so that they could build a second Presbyterian church just across the road, or not very far away, on Hammond Street. So although it's a very small town, we do in fact have two Presbyterian churches, all because of the Reverend Barnett.
And the Drapers Company were very generous to all the churches in Moneymore.
They were so generous that in fact they gave both land and some money to rebuild the Catholic Church here, but perhaps more importantly for them, they gave a little more money and a rather prominent position to move the established church, the Church of Ireland, into the town, into the northern entrance of the town, and right on top of the hill. The imposing church, which is still there, was designed by William Booth, who designed so many of the grand buildings in the town.
All the churches play an important part in the life of Moneymore. And you can see Jeremy and his band of reenactors on the Moneymore Heritage Trail on special occasions tell the history and the story of the wonderful town of Moneymore. Why not come along and join them?